booktube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. Happy Friday! Yay, we made it through another week. This weekend I can spend working on the chores that I didn't do last weekend. Okay, a very, very quick reading update. On Tuesday, I finished reading Night Watch by Jayne and Phillips. This book just won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction. And so I will be posting a separate review video of this book over the weekend, hopefully. So that's the plan anyway. I also have just started and just barely started reading Mother Angelica's Private and Pithy Lessons from the Scriptures. A dear friend of mine, who's obviously Catholic, gave this to me for Christmas, so I'm reading this for her, and yeah, I'm gonna read it in bits and pieces, so we'll see how long it takes me to get through that. Now, I am wearing the most Western shirt in my wardrobe. In central Wyoming, where I live, I would not be considered a cowgirl or a Western girl by any stretch of the imagination. I have never in my life owned a pair of cowboy boots or a cowboy hat, ever. Never. But for whatever reason, I really wanted to participate in June on the Range this year, which is an annual event hosted by Michael K. Vaughan. I will link to his announcement video down below. And it didn't get announced till like mid-May, so I was already kind of like rethinking what I was gonna read this summer, because I thought maybe it wasn't happening. I know a lot of people are participating in Summer of Sport in conjunction with like the Olympics and stuff like that, so there's a lot of events going on, but I just, Michael K. Vaughan created this event. Like, it is his thing. Like, he came up with the idea, and like, it's great. It's fine. Like, he can do whatever he wants, right? I mean, and he's probably not even going to see this video. So I just want you to know, there are still things that I would consider Westerns being written. The Western is alive and well, at least in the West. I mean, my used bookstore you cannot buy a Louis L'Amour book with using any credit at all. You have to pay anyway, which says to me like it's a really high volume. Like, a lot of people are picking up Louis L'Amour books. It's an area where they want to keep that really well stocked. There's tons of Westerns at my used bookstore, and when you walk into our local independent bookstore, you are immediately hit in the face with a whole bunch of books that I would define as, at least if nothing else, they take place in the West. So the criteria for participating in June on the Range, and I wasn't quite certain about this, like if you just read one Western, have you participated, or do you have to read a Zane Grey and a Louis L'Amour book? And I have not read books by either of those authors, so maybe I should think about that, or contemplate that for the future. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna do June on the Range adjacent. Yeah, like rogue version of June on the Range. Because to me, the Western is so much more than just an older pulp novel. And there's nothing wrong with reading those books, okay? Like, please, I am not here to critique what anyone wants to read for June on the Range. You do your own, you do you, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do my thing. So, one of the things that I really wish were part of June on the Range would be the incorporation of nonfiction. I have heard some people talk about nonfiction in their June on the Range TBRs, which is really exciting to me. I am going to be reading Fox and I, An Uncommon Friendship, by Catherine Raven. This takes place in Montana. She's kind of in between jobs. I think she's maybe teaching a little bit in Yellowstone National Park, but she's living in a little cottage in an isolated part of Montana, and a fox shows up. So this would be more of like a nature wildlife interaction sort of book. I am a little bit nervous to read this after reading H is for Hawk, so I hope this one goes better. Fingers crossed. And another book, also with a fox on the cover. This is Rough Beauty, 40 Seasons of Mountain Living by Karen. I'm not quite sure how to say her last name. I'll figure that out. But anyway, and this I might read like just over the summer, not necessarily just in June. I might spread it out a little bit, but we'll see. This takes place in Colorado. And then finally, I'm going to read Fencing the Sky by James Galvin. Okay, so we have to talk about James Galvin for just a sec. I heard James Galvin speak. Let's see, when was it? And, oh, we didn't date it. Dang it. My copy is a little beat up too. All right, so I heard James Galvin speak at an event I went to more than 20 years ago. And it took me a really long time to get around reading this book, and I was so mad at myself that it took me so long to read this. This is just a phenomenal book. The Meadow by James Galvin. To me, this represents the ultimate Western, aside from maybe like The Virginian and Lonesome Dove, which are fantastic books, and you definitely should check those out. Whether you're interested in, I mean, they're just excellent books, and so is this one. And this takes place, the Meadow is on the Colorado-Wyoming border. It's a real place. I don't know how much of this is like part nonfiction and how much is fiction, but he does such a tremendous job of creating the land as the Meadow is the main character in this book. I don't know how he did that. I don't get it. And that's why I love the book so much. It's so beautifully written though, and it really is, I feel like a very accurate portrayal of Western life. And so I can't recommend this book enough to those of you who are interested. So I was thinking, going back to the my wildest dreams tag, and like if I had $1 million, euro, yen, like what would I do with it? And like now I'm like, oh, I would buy as many copies of this book as I could and send them to all my favorite booktubers. So that's how much I love this book. One of the other things that I wish was part of June on the Range would be to encourage people to read a book by an Indigenous author. I just grabbed one. I own many books by Louise Erdrich. This is The Roundhouse, which won the National Book Award. I've heard good things about this book, but I have not read it. But I have a lot of Louise Erdrich that I haven't read. So she's a tremendous writer. There are so many wonderful Indigenous writers. I would really like to read something by James Welch at some point. So yeah, so that's kind of where my head is going for June on the Range adjacent. the rogue June on the Range, the rebel June on the Range. So it's a great event. Again, I don't want to judge anyone for whatever it is they're reading. Especially because I have not, like I said, I haven't read anything by Zane Grey. I haven't read anything by Louise L'Amour, so I don't know what those books are like. And you know what? One of these days, like, I probably will pick one up. But it is not hard to find at all. They're not hard. They're not hard to come by. I just had a different idea of June on the Range this year, and so so right now, for sure, these are my books that I'm planning to read for June on the Range, and I will probably most likely add a Louise Erdrich book to the pile as well. So I'm excited. I'm wondering what events you are participating in this summer. What are you reading? Are you participating in June on the Range? What are you going to read for June on the Range? What's your favorite Western? Please share with me down in the comments section. As always, if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, you can leave an emoji, maybe the little smiley face with the cowboy hat on it. Although, I don't know, some of you may not have that emoji. I just realized, like, well, probably is not terribly popular in the UK, I'm thinking. But anyway, so yeah, put that down in the comments section. Or if you would like to just say hello, give this video a thumbs up. It really does help my channel, and I really do appreciate it so much. So I look forward to engaging with you in the comment section. Booktube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.
Hi, Blue. Hi. Oh, how are you? Huh? Do you want to show your face? No? Are you tired? Yeah. It's so rough being a kitty. Yeah. Yeah. Chin, chin, chin.